Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Super Metroid. And last time we got to this point in Norfair, we defeated Kraid and got the wave beam early. And that's about all we did. Oh, and we got the Varia suit, by the way, also. So, now, let's go ahead and move on. So, there's a red version of a CAC attack there. Not really very different, it's just red. I think it actually looks cooler than the green ones. And then there's another variety that we'll see later on. Okay, and then we got Screes. And what you need to do now is make your way through these series of rooms, because we're about to get the item that makes you move fast. And that will actually allow us to get to where the ice beam is. So, that's good. Go and refill. It's not really necessary that you do that, I just, I'm crazy about stuff like that. Okay, so in this room we got a series of what are kind of considered new bridges, because you have to actually jump across or run across these. Well, you don't have to, because you can jump right out of them, but if you just hold the dash button and go through these, you'll make it just fine. But get to the edge, and before you go in this room, and you want to make sure that you do this before you go into this room and get the item that's in there, shoot the wall right here, jump up and get this. Whoa, I kind of like did a little space jump when I was on the ground. It's a little weird. But jump up and get this missile. And you're about to see that if you don't grab this missile now, when we grab this item that's in here, we won't be able to come back and get this missile for a while. So that's why I recommend that you get it now. So, do that, and we get a speed booster. Press and hold the B button to run. I think that's actually the A button on default controls. Anyway. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. But what you need to do when you get into this room is just start dashing, and you'll do a speed boost. And that's really helpful because you run very fast. And it also speeds up the lava while you're running. Because usually, or normally, the water or the lava won't rise that fast. But it does for some reason when you speed boost. I guess that's just a way to show you how fast you actually go when you do the speed boost. Okay, sorry about that again. Jeez. My brother is pestering me to go to, like, the game store and see if I can find a cord for a PS2. Because I just, my best friend just let me buy his PS2 off of him for 20 bucks, and he also gave me a bunch of games, some of which I'm actually interested in LPing someday, but we'll discuss that more later when the time comes. But my friend couldn't find his power cord, but there's actually a power cord at a game store that is only like $3. So I need to go to the game store and buy new cords for that. Okay, let's okay. Yeah, now we just need to get back to that main elevator shaft in Norfair. But now that we have the speed booster, we can run through here, blast through all these boyons, and get to the end. Or B-tombs. I forget what these guys are called. I always mix them up between boyons and B-tombs. But that's just because the names are kind of similar and they're right next to each other on the enemy list that's on the Metroid wiki that I get on. So, but I don't know. They're either B-tombs or boyons. So, I'll let you decide that for yourself. Oh, okay, so now what we need to do is come to this green door and make sure you have a running start. And we will run straight through here. Now, as you can see, we got these platforms which we cannot, or these blocks that we cannot go through yet. We have to have another power-up that we'll be getting soon. So, and more of these trippers that will sink when you jump on them. And of course, they put them right above lava. They can't have them right above water or anything. But okay, so in this room, what you need to do is take out these things right here, these novas, And you don't really have to do that, but it's better because you can get through here easily. Because what you have to do is go through here, and then kind of do this thing where you roll out into the main little tunnel here, and then quickly push the right button again, and you'll do that, and you make it through. Not really that hard. Something that can be a little annoying if you have a bad controller. Like if I wasn't using a GameCube controller, I'd probably be really messing up right now. And we get the ice beam. Woohoo! So I love the ice beam, and it also adds more damage to our beam, and our beam will now do 100 damage. And our beam is basically at the most powerful it's going to get for a little while. So just deal with this. And the ice beam is just like the other Metroid games. It freezes enemies. Nothing really new. But let me just go ahead and show you what it looks like just by itself. Yeah, kind of what it looks like in Metroid 2 a little bit. Kind of like a ninja star, or more like a spike. And then let me go and show you what it looks like with just the wave beam. Yeah, kind of like frozen energy. And then I'll show you what it looks like just with the spacer beam. And I'll try to do that with the other beam type that we get. Yeah, so this is what you would normally see if you hadn't used that trick to get the wave beam early. So that's what you would see. And there's only one more beam in the game, and we won't get that until we defeat the third Guardian, which isn't going to be anytime soon, actually. But I love the third Guardians area because that's actually my favorite area in the game. But I'm not going to spoil that at all. Okay, so anyway, in this room we find Boyons. And so these things right here, they jump up and they're gushy, and you can shoot them and freeze them and use as platforms. But these things were actually going to be the original X-Parasites, like what they were going to look like. And in the early Metroid Fusion beta trailers, the X-Parasites were actually just recolored Boyons, which I find extremely interesting because the Boyons don't really act anything like the X-Parasites. Well, there's only a certain kind of Boyon that does, and we'll see that later. Okay, and I guess that kind of answers the question of what those one hopper guys are that latch onto you. Those are B-tomes. So now we can kind of clear that up a little bit. Alright, so now what we could do is go up to the surface and get out of Norfair and do some stuff to get the next power-up, which will lead us to the item that will let us go to the next area. But first, we are going to actually backtrack to that green bubble room, the green marble room. And the reason we want to do that is because there are some power-ups that we're going to get, or not power-ups, but more expansions that we're going to get early. So that way it saves us the trouble of backtracking to this side of Norfair, because really we don't have to go as far as the bubble room to get through the other part of Norfair that we will go through later on in the game. So just take the way I took originally to get to the green bubble room. Don't take the way that has all the B-tomes in it, because you will find yourself unable to get through the tunnels that had the novas in them. So, but getting through this room is a lot easier with the ice beam because you can freeze these Alcoons, or these dragons. These ones are dragoons. Alcoons are the ones that get up and walk. And that's good because then you know how to deal with them shooting fireballs up at you. And these dragons are actually pretty much wimps compared to the dragons in the original Metroid. Okay, so anyway, you can see this green door up here. The only way to get to that normally is to use a certain item that we're going to get fairly soon, but I'm just going to go ahead and get it early. And I had to actually wall jump off of that frozen ripper, but that's because I kind of had it a little too high. But just try to get it as low as it can, as low as you can get it, to where it's high enough that you can get up here. But do that, and you can get up to this room early. And we get a missile tank. And that's all we get. We just backtrack here just for one missile tank. I was about to say energy tank for some reason. But actually that's really not. If you kind of shoot the corner down here, it'll make this little pillar thing appear. And we can use that to get through here. And there's 2 more expansions that we're going to get in this little area. So, freeze, you dragon! Okay, so as you can see, there's one right there. But I'm not going to grab that quite yet because we want to get up here and get our first reserve tanks. And these are actually new items. And basically all they do is they kind of act as an energy storage for you. And they can store 100 energy each. So that's really good. And you get like 4 or 5 of them in the game. So that's 4 or 5 like emergency energy that you can get. And basically how they work is once you have full energy, any energy that you pick up after that will just go towards that reserve tank, which is really good. Okay, so now what we need to do is just head back to the main elevator room in Norfair, and we will actually head back up to Brinstar. So, fun, fun, fun. A lot of backtracking in this game. And that's one thing I love about this game, is that it's basically non-linear. Or it's basically not linear. Oh, God. Let's just quit that sentence, okay? Basically, this game, you have to backtrack sometimes, and you don't just go to an area and that's all you go to it for. You actually have to backtrack to some of these areas, and that's one thing I love about this game. So, alright, it's not really that hard to get back to the main elevator shaft. I could have took the one path with the bee tombs, but I just decided not to. So, I guess that's just because I didn't really want to have to go through that tunnel. Which I guess going through that tunnel isn't so bad once you have the wave beam, because you can kill those novas before they actually get to the little part of the tunnel that you can kill them in. So, because the wave beam can go through walls, and it's just awesome like that. Okay, so if you ever happen to take this way to get from the bubble room to the main Norfair shaft, just come up here and then bomb your way through these little series of tunnels, and there you go. Not really that hard. But I usually, when I normally play this, I would just take the room that has the bee tomes in it. But that's not really the most convenient way to do it. But anyway, we come back up here, and finally we are out of Norfair for just a little bit, because we'll be coming basically right back. But I mean, it's good to have a change of environment every now and then, I guess. Oh, that room that I just passed that has like the glass in it, it's actually an important room that we're going to use to get to a certain area later on, a certain water area. And I've mentioned before that water areas in video games are generally my favorite areas. Even though, well, I guess it's a tie between forest areas and water areas, because forest areas are green and they're peaceful and calm and they're full of nature, but water areas are serene and they're calm. And just, I like both of those areas, and it's kind of hard to decide which one is actually my ultimate favorite. Okay, so as you just saw, I was freezing the rippers. I should have been talking about that instead of rambling on about outdoor areas. But you can freeze these rippers and use them as platforms. Just kind of make sure that you freeze them enough at an angle that you can actually get to them. Unlike what I just did right there, so I'm going to have to redo this because I screwed up. And I think I just screwed up right there too. Okay, there we go. That's good. And then we come up through here, and we have a couple new enemies here. We have these things in the floor called Samus Eaters, and most likely I'm going to end up falling in one eventually, so I'm not going to waste my time showing you what they do. And we also have Zeebos that pop out of them. And Zeebos are actually enemies from the original Metroid. And for some reason they spawn out of these Samus Eaters. It's a little weird, but whatever. Okay, so now we're in this room. And this is basically the only other area of Red Brinstar that you see besides the big shaft and the area that leads to Norfair. So take this as you want. And here we have Zeros, and Zeros are actually the larva form of key hunters, which we saw in the room before Kraid and the room before the Spore spawn. And you don't actually get any information about these being key hunter babies, but you do find it out in Metroid Other M because there are key hunters and Zeros in that game. Okay, so in here we have B-tomes. Just use these to get across. Or boyons, those are boyons. What in the world? And here we get power bombs, which are a new item to this game. You don't see them in any of the other previous Metroids. And basically what they do is you can lay down, select them, and you do that. And it causes a huge explosion, which is something I do every day in the bedroom. And if you do it behind or on that Chozo statue, it'll reveal this wall. And we can get a missile expansion out of that. So, I think there's like 15 missile or power bomb expansions in the game. And you don't really use power bombs for anything except for opening yellow doors, which you've seen a couple times already, and for getting through power bomb blocks, which is what was actually in the area where we got the ice beam. So if you remember seeing those. So another interesting thing about the Zeros is that they have a 99% chance of dropping power bomb ammo. So you only see them in this little area here, but if you run low on power bombs, just go ahead and kill those and you'll refill them pretty fast. Okay, so now let's go in this room because there is an expansion in here we want to grab. And here we have big side hoppers. Now these are actually called side hoppers officially, and the ones we've seen already, like the tiny ones, those are actually called just plain side hoppers. Or those are called small side hoppers, I mean. So, pretty interesting enemies. You don't really see the big ones very much. But anyway, use a power bomb here, blow up on the floor, and we can actually go through this man, or the Samus Eater, and get a power bomb expansion. So we get our second one right off the back, and it's pretty sad because we've gotten 2 power bomb expansions already, but no super missile expansions, except for the very first one we got right after we defeated the Spore spawn. But once we actually go back and start backtracking to get power-ups or to get expansions, the super missile expansions will actually come pretty fast. So that's something to kind of look forward to. Alright, so now we need to go back into Norfair to get the item that will lead us to the next area with the next Guardian. So we will do that next time when we move on to Brinstar. So see you guys in the next part. Bye.